Hello, hello. Welcome to our second episode of the Shady Ladies podcast, GAMbIT Magazine's coverage of the new season of RuPaul's Drag Race. I am joined today by my bestest buddy in podcasting in the whole wide world, Miss Margot Poupard.
Well, hello, everybody.
So we're going to talk today about another preview video because I just can't stop talking about this show. It's taken over my life and I'm kind of scared. But nonetheless, I'm going to share that with all of you by talking today about the new official super trailer that came with the press release of all the guest judges that are going to be on this season. And we get to see sort of who they want to feature in this upcoming season through this super trailer. And there's certain people that we see a lot more of than other people. And people that maybe we thought before from those introduction videos would have been featured more now because they seem so entertaining then. We're like, okay, well, they're going to be in it for the long haul, maybe.
It was actually interesting to see, like, the characters that we saw or got to know a bit more individually kind of all come together in one cluster of a trailer. And yeah, it was interesting to see who they are playing favorites towards, at least in, like, the editing, which, you know, has to be affected in some way or another by knowing a little bit about what's going on in the show more so than the audience. So you can't help but wonder if, like, they let things slip, if certain things are deliberate, or, you know, if it's just like another ruse. If we actually don't know what we're going to be should be expecting, and if, like, someone's reaction is from the same episode, or if it's from way down the line, or, like, what challenge corresponds with which judge. Like, there's still way more questions than answers, but finally we got the answer that we want, which is the premiere date. We finally got one.
March 2nd, Mondays.
Finally, might as well call that one, and going to be not coming into work Monday or Tuesday. It's it's my extended RuPaul weekend. Excuse me, I have to go.
It's a RuPaul-holiday every Monday.
RuPaul-holiday, Monday, Tuesday. Count me out. I'm out.
I'm busy going over and over and over this episode because there's so much to get in here. I hope they don't do the same thing they did last season when they had the big opening was, like, so big they needed 2 episodes to fill it.
Oh, yeah.
Thing, you know, and was like, please don't do that to me again. I want to just meet all of them in the first episode.
I know. I really don't want to do a 2-parter, especially having to wait an entire week in between. If it was some, like, Better Call Saul back-to-back thing, like, you know, the very next day we get the second part, okay, maybe fine, we'll let that one slide. But I can't wait a whole week. You already made me wait more than a year, so
I know.
I feel like this isn't really fair.
You best have it all in one episode, because
at least get through all the introductions. Like, don't split them up. Like, fine, you want to just, like, save the runway for next week, whatever, I guess. We can allow certain things, but, you know, don't just, like, split it up in 2. That's just, like, just give me a clip show while you're at it. This is terrible.
Their clip shows tend to be, like, a lot more entertaining, because there's so
at least we've gotten through the introductions.
You know, like, there's, like, always, like, the Untucked episode afterwards, and then there's, like, when you get to the clip show, there's moments that weren't seen in the episode. Then there was moments that weren't seen in the Untucked episode. And, like, there's so many unseen moments. And because these people are so entertaining so consistently, just by their very nature, you know, like...
They are not dropping character till DVD commentary.
Yeah, right? I mean, even then, they're like, you know, they're back.
Even then, it's questionable what you might get.
It was like those 21 and a half greatest moments special they did on Logo, like, before, I think it was, like, the 5th season or maybe the 6th season. I think it was the 5th. And it was a really sort of, like, a best of kind of thing. It was mostly, like, lip syncs. Yeah, because there was a lot of those.
Well, there are a lot of really good memorable ones, and I could watch an entire clip show of just all of the lip syncs from whatever order of seasons you want to put them in. I don't even need an order or context. I just want them.
Like, what songs will they choose?
I mean, that's essentially, like...
I mean, if Ariana
most
Grande...
episodes, it's like, I can't leave until I see someone lip sync for their life, so I'm basically just done for 45 minutes, so you just gotta fuck off for that amount of time.
Yeah, we know there's got to be an Ariana Grande song on there.
They'll probably do it,
the
episode... They'll probably do it the episode that she's a guest judge.
That episode will be probably one of her songs, because it's like, you know, also it's always a marketing opportunity.
I know.
The show seems to be, like, even bigger this year than it has, like, ever before. Like, there's more people.
There's more available on iTunes now, Smear.
Yes. There's always another RuPaul album on iTunes available for you to purchase, and I'm sure that there's going to be a challenge in this season that, you know...
Another music video challenge?
Another music video challenge. That's usually how they end
Fingers
it.
crossed. No one could see me do that. I don't know why I needed to say it out loud.
I'm sure it will happen. It's usually how they end every season. Like, the final 3 compete in some sort of music video challenge. In the last few seasons, it's been, I think, that way. So I would guess that they're going to do it again. And then, we haven't really seen, they didn't show any real clips of a lip sync in this preview. So we don't know who's lip syncing. But there are people that we see a lot more of in this trailer. So I'm like,
like you had mentioned in the written review, we get to see a couple of people do repeat runway walks. So that's kind of like a cue of like, oh, this person might stick around a little bit longer. Even if they're not featuring them more, it's like we've seen them walk this runway 6 times right now. So,
yeah.
So I think it's safe to say they at least have 6 episodes in them.
I think so. And and when they show, I swear that had to have been the same episode, but it is very hard to tell. Where they showed Lucian Piani, the music guy for the show. He always writes some song or some music for them to do some sort of challenge to. And it's usually in the latter half of the season. Sometimes it's 1 or it's 2 different challenges that he's there for. Mm-hmm. But it's usually later on. It's not usually right at the beginning. And, the response of everybody to that corset, drawn is tight, that old photo. Remember that classic, photo to show how horrible things were before feminism? The
where
first wave of feminism
4 servants to strap your corset on. With a foot in the back.
Yeah, with 12-inch waist or whatever.
I've seen Cinderella. I know how corsets work. It's not pleasant.
The most shocking thing that we saw, and I'm like, okay, I think we can legitimately expect great things from that one.
Thank God. So we can make a lot of really outdated Olympic jokes.
Yes, I mean, I'm still mystified that the inspiration for that name came from not a recent Russian gymnast, but what year was it? The 96.
There we go. It was something
Olympics.
Really obscure. Not obscure, but
she competed for a
you
long
had to think.
time.
You had to think about it. I had to think about it. I was like, why do I know that? Oh, that's where you went for your name. Okay, that's cool. That's different.
Turns out that she's got a really good sense of humor. That particular queen on this season, I think, is one that we can safely say that you should watch out for, because I think she's got a lot of interesting tricks up her sleeve and a quirky, personality. It's not the typical. They all seem kind of really, really up their game from comparing to the group that was in season 2. I mean, not that the group in season 2 was terrible, but it's there's fewer people.
I think it's because the standard gets set higher every passing season.
It seems really high right now.
Well, because I think that now also on top of everything, RuPaul has such a proven track record now to launch your career and guarantee that you have a job, at least if you do well in Drag Race. You mentioned on the review, having a spot on the Drag Race tour that happens every single year. You're at least guaranteed some sort of work. It means a lot. And so everybody's bringing their A game, and everybody's A game, it just keeps getting just bigger and better every single season. So it's it's nice to see people come with their fucking game face on and ready to win this shit. And you will remember me even if I don't win, because I'm going to be so fucking fierce up until the second I get eliminated that I will dare you to try and forget me. And even queens that don't actually make it all the way and win,
they still make it on the tour.
They still make it on the tour. They still have gigs. They're up at there have been so many queens from Drag Race that I think now are from San Francisco because they perform up here so much. But I go back to their Drag Race season, I'm yeah, Thunderfuck's from Philadelphia.
Pittsburgh.
There we go.
Pittsburgh queen.
P name.
She and Sharon Needles.
Yeah, I always forget, but they're both up here so often working, hosting things, being a part of Peaches Christ shows, and even being under Peaches Christ's wing is such a compliment within itself that that makes being on the show totally worth it for most people. It would for me.
Who from what we've seen of the previews, is there anybody that you would think, okay, I could see you doing a Peaches Christ show, after the season? Jane Dior Fierce had a lot of variety in what we saw from her just in this preview. So I'm we saw her in 3 completely different looks, and I'm I have a hard time believing that those are all just the first 3 episodes. Those, I think that's at least half the season. Plus, I think the horror look with the barbed wire and the scars and the blood and everything. It was not so Sharon Needles that it was a copycat thing. It seemed like something that was genuinely her own. I'm I could see you doing a few different shows for different movies here in San
her barbed wire face getup made me wish she was on Scream Queens when that was still a show.
Oh, which Scream Queen?
Because I feel like she'd be like a fabulous addition to like a Saw movie or any like cheesy horror movie. I feel like she would be the type of person that would just have so much fun with it. And so she was definitely the first person that came to mind when you brought that question up. But also I think Tempest du Jour has a great look. Like even just looking at her Instagram, she has a great look that lends itself to a lot of things. She makes a lot of fun of pop culture. So I think that I could see her like doing like a Peaches Christ show or like just going on her own kind of like variety tour show. Like I think that she can do a lot of. She's very like Bette Midler-y in a weird way. I don't know if she sings, but like I just get that kind of like vibe where like she just can look like different people and like can put on a stage performance, but can also be very funny. And like I saw that picture of her dressed like Kim Kardashian's butt cover from Paper Magazine, and like her picture was actually the only ripoff that made me smile. Like everybody else is like, "Oh my god, you're trying it, please stop." But hers was like genuinely funny. Like she captured like the look on her face so well, and like and her butt looked better. Like I'm just gonna say it. Yeah. Tempest's butt looked way better. So so those are the two queens that those are the first two names that popped into my head the second that you asked that question. Whose career just like being on the show, I think will like get them other gigs.
Like their booking fee will be increased, as many of them love to say. Like, hey, if I get that out of this, then this is a success. Mm-hmm. I definitely feel Katya is like up there. Mm-hmm. Even just from what we've seen, even if she gets eliminated halfway through, I feel like she's done enough to like probably get a spot on the tour. Yeah, because she really did. Like like okay, she just all talk and like no substance. Like Violet Chachki's got like a great look. Mm-hmm. I love the look, I love the style, but I feel like that like the actual personality and the actual performance quality isn't quite there. Mm-hmm. So I feel like the ingenue is going to go early this season. They're not going to last as long as it, because sometimes the ingenues last to like the final 3 or final 4. Like they last for a while.
But I think that's really dependent on the person and if they're like open to criticism and growing and changing. And, like, not set in their ways, like, this is how I am, and, like, I'm not going to change it because, like, go fuck yourself. Like, if you go in with that mindset, they're going to be like, all right, okay, bye, like, I'll see you later.
For real.
Like, don't steal any wigs from production. We know. We counted them. So I think that aspect of her personality that, like, kind of came through a little bit in, like, her interview is probably going to hold her back. And then something about Pearl just, like, not being able to quote Ru quotes, like, just drove me insane. I don't know.
It's almost like she's taken that Paris Hilton character that she seems to be made up as. I mean, that's what I see when I look at her. So, like, maybe when she actually has her full introduction on the show, we'll get to the bottom of exactly whether or not that is her inspiration for her look. Because she looked very much like her in the preview video, like, a lot. And I'm like, maybe she's just
she should take this as a compliment, but she doesn't look as much like a bird. So...
Yeah. But I get like the dumb, like totally blasé. I don't care about anything.
And like the pink and like the hair and just all of it.
The bored face, the eyes at half mast.
Yeah.
Like she kind of had that voice a little bit. So I mean, we'll see. But just like it seems like she and Violet are like bound to go early, and don't seem like the ones who would last long enough or make enough of an impression to be on the tour. But their booking fees will increase.
Yeah,
I think their booking fees will increase just after having been on the show.
I think so too. How does it not like? The You Get to Attach was on RuPaul's Drag Race. Like everyone's fucking booking.
I am drag royalty.
Even if you didn't like me, you'd love to hate me for that one episode.
And she'll get a lot more work, I hope. But maybe she could also surprise. What if she has like some hidden fiery performance? I just don't see it. The way that they've previewed her so far, like, doesn't give me that feel. And like the moment you saw like Adore Delana, you just like, I don't know, I just got a spark instantly from her, and you could tell like right away like there was something there, like this person was going to be, I don't know, you just wanted to see this person perform more because they seem to have that it quality, that indefinable je ne sais quoi, so to speak. And I did not get that from Violet or Pearl, who seem like, I think they are the youngest ones.
Oh, interesting.
This season. And Adore was like one of the youngest. I think she was the youngest one in this last season. And she was like final 3. I mean, legitimately could have been called to win. But, wasn't unhappy with Bianca Del Rio. Bianca Del Rio was pretty fabulous at the Drag Race tour, by the way, which recently came through town. Adore was not there, the little bitch. I wanted to see her perform. But there was a really, really good crowd still of people. Like, Bianca Del Rio was playing the MC because Michelle Visage is still over in UK giving Perez Hilton shit. Thank you, Mama. I love you for this.
Wait, he got eliminated though, didn't he?
Oh,
That's what I thought I read.
Oh, yeah.
And then I read something follow up to that after Praise Be, he got fucking eliminated. That Ru said that she would bring Drag Race to the UK if Michelle won.
I'm like,
which would be very interesting.
Fingers crossed in a place that you can't see that they're crossed, but like every little
RuPaul prayer circle tonight at our house. Come over.
Bring your stones.
Bring your stones and something British.
Something British. Like, spotted dick. We could use a spotted dick at the party.
Oh my god.
Somebody bring a dick and it'll be so welcome at this, like, RuPaul's Drag Race prayer circle.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Yeah,
that's what we need.
What he said. But yeah, I thought that was super funny. But yeah, it didn't even dawn on me, though, when the Drag Race, when the tour started, and I was reading about Michelle Visage on Big Brother UK. I don't know why, but, like, it didn't fire an alarm that she wouldn't be able to actually MC.
I was like, for some reason, I was like,
it just didn't correspond. I was like, I know they're happening
live.
I know it's happening in real time.
I feel like maybe it was recorded live like months ago and she actually is available.
That's what I thought too.
But I'm like, wait, but how can people call in and like
the lies you tell yourself sometimes?
I was just like, she's gonna be there because it just makes sense. No, she wasn't out there, but it was still like an amazing.
Yeah, it's just funny though that we were both like, no, she's for sure gonna be there, even though the show that's happening that we know gets shot in real time is happening right now in real time.
And this show that we're going to see is also happening right now when she's in another country.
Yeah, completely different place.
Bianca Del Rio was a fabulous MC because she's like an insult comic queen.
Yeah,
and it just
if there's anybody that's going to replace Michelle Visage, I think that's a pretty good.
Like
fit.
She had already come through town with her Rolodex of Hate tour, which was a big success. And
is her tour still not going on still?
Well, I think while she's doing this, she's not doing her Rolodex of Hate until Michelle Visage wins Celebrity Big Brother UK and then comes back and then they swap out and then
got it.
The Rolodex goes out rolling through the country, spreading hate everywhere. But it's entertaining hate. She's so freaking funny. She's so like hilarious. Does not miss a beat. Is like totally in the moment. Like can read anybody like with just one like look at them. She knows enough to be able to read you. And Ivy Winters was like she got to show off some of her circus skills. Like she didn't break out the stilts. She didn't have the stilts for this show. Bad. But she did have like a her gimmick was like she changed costumes like 5 times at least within like one song, and like she did like partly like magic acts where it's like, oh, now you see her locked in the box, but now she's over here in another outfit. And at one point like she was lip syncing to Christina Aguilera's Fighter. I love that freaking song. And she was like, it's a hard song to lip sync to, too. There's a lot of lyrics in there and a lot of embellishments of the vocals that you have to match if you're going to really sync up with it. And she, like, did all that while juggling knives. Like, I was like, oh, okay. Like, okay then. Now I see. Now I see. I'm really upset that you never got to juggle knives on the runway of RuPaul's Drag Race. But you did at least bust your stilts out there. But yeah, we got to see like a lot more of her than we got to see on the show. And it was really great. And Ben de la Creme also was like a big revelation for me because we saw like she was super entertaining on the show. But, always criticized for somehow not giving enough. But like, no, she gave plenty in this performance. Like the best part of all was her Little Mermaid number.
Oh yeah.
Where like it was the part of your world song. She's talking about look at this stuff, isn't it neat? I can't sing more than 30 seconds of it. We have to pay. So I'm just gonna stop there. But that song, but the stuff that was so neat for her was like,
and for those of you who have never seen The Little Mermaid, this is the part where she is going through essentially like human trash, like a fork, and I just really vividly remember the fork and her trying to brush her hair with it and being like, girl, stop.
The old world version of Franklin mint plates and like shit like that was like, she had like a whole cavern, remember?
And then if you want to hear what the song sounds like, just like go back about 10 seconds to hear Samir sing that tiny snippet. We can't sing it again. We might get in legal trouble.
I didn't even give it my all with my vocals. I should have.
Well, Disney's is going to show up at my door if you keep going.
I don't want them to. Well, unless they're giving me free movies. And, like,
they will not. They will be giving out free
shankings. A club
shankings.
membership for Club 33, like lifetime?
No, they're going to be giving out free shankings because we're singing their song and not giving them money.
Well, nonetheless, Ben de la Creme did his amazing performance to this song. where the things that were so neat from the human world was like cocaine, pot, alcohol, a dildo, which she also made disappear inside herself without actually penetrating herself with it. It like disappeared into her tuck.
Trick underwear?
Her tuck. It like went into her tuck somehow, but it was like, you know, it was like very impressive. And then like the little pasty like twirly bob numbers.
Oh, right.
With like, you know, her little pocket of glitter in her crotch, so she kept like, so it just looked like she was like reaching down into her pants, but it was just like she was pulling out glitter and throwing it on the audience, and it was, oh, she was so entertaining. It was so amazing. That was like, so those are like the real big standouts. Sharon Needles was actually really cool, and I liked how much she talked about the San Francisco drag community and the history of the community. So like, it was an interesting dynamic to have, you know, because it's like when a rock band comes through, like in that Simpsons episode where like, who was it? Not AC/DC, like the movie, This is Spinal Tap.
Oh, Spinal
Tap. Springfield, and they're like, hello, and then he lifts up his guitar in the back, he has the word Springfield written on it, so he knows what town he's in when he says it. It's like, oh, Springfield, did you take Route 218 to get here? You know, like stupid crap like that, and they're just like, oh, they know our town, they're so cool. But, like, no,
they're
these
one
queens,
of us.
Yeah, these queens, like, really knew this town. They really knew the history and the community.
Well,
like,
kind of like we said before about how a lot of them just end up working in San Francisco a lot, to the point where I think that they're from here.
They know that, like, Peaches Price is the queen of San Francisco drag. But they also, like, Sharon Needles also, like, knew who the Coquettes were and knew about that community and what they did for the world of drag, really, from San Francisco. And it's a very San Francisco community. It's very much particular to this
Queens
area.
that do their homework, really.
You know, it was really impressive, you know, and there was like one of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence in the audience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like she was so smart. She went and stood right behind the fan on the stage that was like there to like blow the costumes up and also keep the performers a little cool because it was hot as a motherfucker in there. It was so hot.
Wasn't it like super just packed to the rafters?
It was.
Hot?
They were still letting people into the San Francisco Regency Ballroom. Like, people were still lined up to come into the show after it had started, and it looked so full already. I don't know where those people went, like up other people's asses. I don't know. But they all somehow squeezed in there, and it was so fucking hot. But it was so like they actually joked that like, you know, Sharon Needles is like, oh look, that's Fifi. It's like, oh, that's her only fan. They kept making jokes about Fifi, but like I've seen comments from Sharon Needles despite that like big fight on season 4 that they had. Like, she even posted on her own Facebook, she's like, you know, if people judge the content of someone's character based on how they reacted on a reality show in 2011, then, you know, like, that's just really stupid. Fifi O'Hara is, like, a sister, and she's a friend, and she's beautiful and talented, and, you know, it was, like, very much a, like, totally not what people probably expected, but they play up that on the stage. They play up the rivalry and the hatred. And it's, like, it was just nice to see that, like, they're able to do that kind of talk with each other on the stage and have it be like really like, you know, like, oh, you really read her. That was not even like a soft read. That was like harsh. But they really, you know, like you really feel that they still love each other, and that tour bus must be like so much fun. Mm-hmm. But Fifi O'Hara was also like an amazing fucking performer. The best was I still can't get over it when she came out just dressed up just like that weird villain from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, that little old Asian woman, like Esmeralda or whatever. I don't know what the
I can't remember the name, but she was the villain, and it was hilarious.
Oh, no! That
and, like,
woman.
Talk about, like, playing perfectly to your audience, which are, like, a bunch of 90s kids that,
oh
like,
my
grew
God.
up loving this shit.
I died for it. Apparently it was, like, part of a series of, like, Halloween costumes that she had, like, shown online, and she had, like, designed all these big things.
That's fucking genius.
She had every detail of that costume perfect. She had the staff in all the weird bulbs and like moon-shaped things and like the color, the costume. She had every detail of that costume on her. She like really did such an amazing job. And then just the performance itself was, in addition, also really powerful. And you were totally drawn in. I posted some on my Instagram from the show, and I died for it, and everybody else died for it too. We absolutely loved it. Alaska was really funny. They did like a snatch game thing. Mm-hmm. Alaska played Laganja Estranja. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty like an easy target because Laganja, like, it was such a fake personality that she had put on through the show at some points that like you could easily make fun of that. And Sharon Needles was the dearly departed Joan Rivers. Mm-hmm. It was also hysterically funny. Like, she and like Bianca Del Rio seemed to be like really like gelling because they were playing off of each other a lot and really well. And seems like Sharon Needles knows exactly how to make Bianca Del Rio like crack. She knows how to. She seems to have her number, so she kept making Bianca Del Rio like actually like have to take a moment to just laugh at what she was saying. And Fifi was then Gia Gunn with the huge hula hoop purse and the wonky eyelash that was like the length of her entire face that she just kept batting. But at one point it was so hot she literally got off her chair and like went and sat in front of the fan. And it's like, well, I told you, it's her only fan. She has to love it. It was such a good show. Like, it was such a good time. And they were like really personable with like all the people who came to meet and take pictures with them and get autographs. Like,
and
they
I mean,
were
they
not snooty at all.
I mean, this is what, their 5th city in like so many days or less.
In like less than a week. And then they're like, I mean, this is like a really like real big tour. They're going to so
I mean, it's
many
hardcore.
cities.
They're hitting a lot of cities really quick. And then they're going over, do they go to Europe first and then Canada?
No, they go to Canada first because they're pretty much going up the coast. And I think they're going to go through like Vancouver.
And then back down through
Toronto,
East Coast and then go over.
Yeah, and back
that
through
makes
the US,
sense.
And then back up to like Montreal, like when they go closer to the East Coast. You know, it's so they've got it all rooted out. I just want to like I want a job on that tour bus. There's got to be a job for me to be like a box head. You know, I've got to follow the Battle of the Seasons because it was so much fun, and there's going to be like different like group of performers.
Right.
So some of them are going to be in a lot of them, but they're all obviously going to take breaks here and there. So others are going to be filled in.
Yeah, because how many? What is it, like a 42-city tour?
At least.
Excluding Canada and Europe.
Yeah, and then they even added dates in Europe too. So there's like even like Reykjavik, Iceland.
Oh right.
It's going to be like another stop on the tour. What else did they add? I can't remember. I think they had a city in Germany. I know there's like Paris and Madrid and like Amsterdam and London. And I actually met somebody at the show who was like planning to follow this tour. He really was following this tour. He'd already seen it in Los Angeles and was seeing it there in San Francisco, and like his friend was Canadian, and like they were going to go see it in Canada. He was going to take her back to see it there, and he's planning to like go see it in London. Like, I was like, hell, I guess I better plan that trip to Paris. I want to see them in fucking Paris.
That'd be fun. Where are they playing there?
Oh, I can't remember. Maison something. I don't know. I don't. It's online at the website. But it seems like I can't imagine. I would love to see who's going to be on stage
the European
in Paris. I feel like everybody on the tour would be like, I'm going.
Right?
I'm
I
going.
mean, wouldn't they fight each other? I know I would be fighting bitches. I'd be snatching weaves and trying to get my ass on that plane.
I still don't know why Tyra Sanchez isn't there. Like, she was a winner of Drag Race. I mean, like, my least favorite winner, but she still was a winner of the show. I mean, we didn't really see her perform that much. We just knew that she had, like, amazing sewing skills. And, like, she really did have, like, a drag mother. She really was raised in it. She's doing drag right, but I also hear that she gets in fights. And bad things happen around her. And I just don't know why she's not on this tour. It seems like perfect for her. Like, hey, it's a steady paycheck.
I don't know. I have no answer for that.
But I know she still performs in, the East. Not really out here. I don't think she's ever... I don't know if she's come out here, but I have never seen Tyra Sanchez at a performance.
I haven't seen the name
here.
around at all.
Maybe she's just not that good as an actress, so it's harder to put her in one of those Peaches Price shows. But Alaska had, like, her own show, like the Blue Hour. She had that show. She looked at the Sex and the City show in San Francisco. She's been in more than one Peaches Price thing. I was sad that Jinx Monsoon was not there, but she's off in Australia doing her Vaudevillians show, which is, like, winning awards and there.
That's awesome.
And it was a huge hit in New York, too, and it looks really fun. I loved her album, actually. Like, the album that she released is actually an album I've listened to entirely on Spotify. Maybe I'll buy it.
On iTunes?
On iTunes. It's available on iTunes, as everything is, including this podcast. Please remember
to subscribe and download every time on iTunes.
Just set it up to bring in any new episode of it. You'll be glad you did.
I know I am.
I know. Maybe we'll get to go to the finale. I'm already thinking about the finale. I'm so, like...
You've already jumped ahead of the finale?
Well, hoping that we get to go see the live finale. I just want to be there for that.
I'm just focused on, like, March 2nd and getting here already, for Christ's sake.
Oh, well, it's only 2 more weeks away, so not too much waiting. I'm sure I can occupy myself with something. Like, I did I could go see a movie and review it, I suppose.
Go see 50 Shades
I
again.
already did that, and it was terrible.
You bring it upon yourself.
I know.
Just like I can't complain about bad movie review because it's my fault. I created the series, and it's my fault. The movies suck, and I have to like feel like
that's the design. But
this is my design.
Well, you don't need to do this one in the future because I already gave it only 1 star, and that was only for Jamie Dornan's ass.
You should seriously watch The Fall. It's really good.
I will. But I'm.
You also see his butt in that too.
Well, then that's a plus, and
he's
I'll
like shirtless and like his butt's in there, and there's like an allusion to like some penis action. You don't see it unfortunately, but it's alluded to.
Well, I think definitely I can squeeze that into the rotation as well. Emphasis on the squeeze.
God.
No, not really. We'll see if the show's that hot. We'll see. I don't know, but anyways. I'm sure I can arrange it around my Monday evening RuPaul's Drag Race viewing parties.
The Fall?
Yeah, like, catching up with it.
Right, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it only has 12 episodes, like first and second season.
Easy peasy. Well, until then, maybe that will take up the time until RuPaul's Drag Race
that
finally starts.
Hannibal's finally on, I think it's like finally on Amazon. All of it.
A podcast about that.
Oh, dear God, it's coming back in the summer, and I cannot wait.
Oh, my Lord. Okay, well, stay tuned for... we have to find a good name for that if we're going to do it, too. Oh, my God, so many cannibal jokes. I can't wait. Well, this has, I think, been enough for our second preview episode of Shady Ladies, the GAMbIT Magazine, RuPaul's Drag Race podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Would you like to say goodbye, Margot Papard?
Until March 3rd, or sometime after that.
Shortly after that. Oh my God, we're going to try to live tweet. We're going to have a hot review. And then we're going to have
hot review jam.
And then we're going to have this new podcast.
Yeah, so definitely make sure you hit subscribe and download on iTunes. And make sure you follow us at GAMbIT Magazine. And you can follow me at Mark She Wrote.
And you can follow me at Samiraculous.
Sorry, I do this to you
Twitter.
every time.
It's so hard to say. It was a terrible, terrible name, but it's too late to change it now. I have submitted too many requests to add Midnight to win their hashtag wars through this Twitter handle.
You really do have to commit once you get it. You can't change it.
I'm stuck with it. But I love my Instagram, which is at Samiracles, and I'm going to post a few more pictures.
Yeah, I highly suggest you follow Samir's Instagram if you want to see pictures from the Drag Race stories. Taken quite a few really good-looking pictures. And you can see like everyone's costumes and what they were wearing and makeup-wise. And yeah, just check it out. He took some pretty good pictures.
Aw, thanks, Mark She Wrote.
You're welcome. Ain't no thing, girl.
All right. Howdy. Good night. Good afternoon. Good morning. Whatever it is at the time that you're listening to this, I bid you that.
Aloha.
Aloha. It covers everything.
Covers all of our bases.
Aloha.